There's a lot of good men and women out there who are entrepreneurs and they want to be successful. They want to make a difference. They want to help people. They want to do something great for their family. But here's the challenge. They're afraid. They don't want to come across like they're pushy. They don't want to come across like they're salesy. They don't want to reek of commission breath, Jason. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
They don't get the business. The potential client suffers because they didn't get the help of a good person. And instead, some charlatan, marketer, some dude or dudette who doesn't care, but is good at selling sizzle, goes out there and gets that business. That's bad for everybody. It's bad for the sum total of goodness in the world. What if we could help these people reframe all this? What if they could reframe selling to serving? Nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold, Jason. I don't want to be sold. But everybody loves to be served by a good, caring human being.
Welcome to the Spear and Clover podcast, the show where military mindset meets the spirit of the puppy. I'm your host, Jason Skisick, the entrepreneurial evangelist, and each week I bring you the stories of visionaries who see the world as it could be and can't help but take action. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and review. This is the best way to stay in the loop when we drop new content. You guys, I love people who love people. And today's guest is one of those people. Originally a Christian immigrant from the Middle East, Nicky Billou has built a publishing, podcasting, and entrepreneurial empire rooted in people. He's developed relationships with actors, entrepreneurs, astronauts, and more. Today, he'll give us a deeper look on what it really means to be a thought leader and how you can leverage relationships on your path to becoming one. His best-selling books, Finish Line Thinking, The Thought Leader's Journey, and The Power of Connecting are available everywhere. And check out his podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution, which is also available everywhere podcasts live. This is going to be a great one, guys. Please welcome my friend, Nicky Billou. Nicky, how are you?
Jason, it's an honor to be here, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, I love it. I love your energy. I love your mustache. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Mustaches rule, bro.
Yeah, game recognized game for sure. You know, for starters, I think there's so much that you do, and we've only met each other briefly. Why don't you kind of lay the groundwork a little bit for our listeners? What is it that you do? Where is it that you're coming to us from today?
Well, let me start by sharing you my backstory. As you said, I'm originally a Christian from the Middle East. I'm from Iran. And when I was a young boy, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. This was not going to be a great place to raise his family. Going forward. And thank God that he saw that, because he got us out of Iran and we settled in Canada eventually. And I am so grateful to him for doing that.
Yeah.
Because we live in a free country and we don't live in tyranny. I don't know if you're following the news about what's happening in Iran, but a young woman was murdered. There's no other way to put it, by the so-called morality police for the crime, quote unquote, of walking outside with her hair partially uncovered. Young women in Iran right now have been protesting against this tyrannical regime, and over 200 of them have been killed in a brutal crackdown. And I know it's very fashionable these days in the West to talk about the West, in America in particular, and go, so racist, so oppressive, so sexist. That's a lot of horse manure. Yeah. This is the greatest, most tolerant place in the world. Everybody who's here should be grateful that they get to live here. And the forces that are trying to tell us otherwise don't know what they're talking about, because if they were in Iran right now and they were raising their voices, they too would be shot and killed. And, you know, it's very important for all of us to understand that freedom is valuable. Freedom matters. And to me, you can't be an entrepreneur if you're not a supporter of freedom. You know, you just can't. And my late father, he was an entrepreneur. He's the greatest man that I ever knew.
Wow.
And my dad, if you needed a job, you get your job. If you were trying to start a business, you'd have to get your business started.
Yeah.
If you worked for him and you wanted to buy a house, a car, an apartment, and you didn't have the money, Dad would set you up. And you might be thinking to yourself, who does that? Well, Napoleon Billou did that. That's my dad.
Wow.
And why? Well, one is he was a Christian and he believed he'd been blessed by God Almighty. Yeah. It was his obligation to share those blessings.
Yeah.
And secondly, he did it because he could. He was successful. He had money. And entrepreneurs are society's greatest heroes. They're the ones who make all this stuff happen. And I wanted to be like my dad. He was my hero. Mm-hmm. So eventually I became an entrepreneur. And here's what I noticed. There's a lot of good men and women out there who are entrepreneurs and they want to be successful. They want to make a difference. They want to help people. They want to do something great for their family. But here's the challenge. Mm-hmm. They're afraid. They don't want to come across like they're pushy. They don't want to come across like they're salesy. They don't want to reek of commission breath, Jason. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, very much.
So what they do is they back up and they don't take a stand for themselves and their client. And they don't get the business. And that's bad because their business doesn't grow. They suffer financially. Their self-belief, takes a hit. They get stressed out. But the potential client suffers because they didn't get the help of a good person. And instead, some charlatan, marketer, some dude or dudette who doesn't care but is good at selling sizzle goes out there and gets that business and doesn't care whether their client gets the result.
Right.
That's bad for everybody. It's bad for the sum total of goodness in the world. And, I saw this and I thought, wow, what if we could help these people reframe all this? What if they could reframe selling to serving? Nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold, Jason. I don't want to be sold.
Right.
But everybody loves to be served by a good, caring human being. So I've been helping good people reframe selling to serving. Because remember, everyone sitting in front of you is someone's daughter, someone's son, someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's husband, someone's father. They're a hero to somebody. They've been disappointed by life, and they've probably been disappointed by someone just like you who promised them the moon and didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that business is not a numbers game. It is a people game. Write this down, listener. Business is not a numbers game. It is a people game. You need to lead from your heart and care. Step one in becoming a thought leader. Show the people that you're a human being, you're real, you're authentic, you care, and you want them to win. Remember, the great American poetess Maya Angelou said, people will not remember what you said. People will not remember what you did. People will always remember how you made them feel. Step one in being a thought leader, make them feel your love and your caring for them. Step two, you cannot sound like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You can't have this horrible, crappy Mayo message. Someone asks you what you do, you can't just go, okay, let me tell them all about it. I help people deal with overwhelm. I work with entrepreneurs. I'm honest. I give good service. What? That's not what you do. That's a horrible message. Your message needs to be on point. Remember, it's about the people. It's got to be about solving problems for people for profit. PPP. Business is about solving problems for people for profit. You must be clear on who you help. You cannot try to be all things to all people. And you cannot have this crappy Mayo message. I'll give you a story, Jason.
All right.
I had a fella. His name was Dan. He was young when he came to me. He was 25 years old. He was full of piss and vinegar. He was a personal fitness trainer, and he wanted to help people. He's a good dude. You know what I mean? You know guys like Dan, right? Good dudes.
I do.
Good dudes. They want to help. And he wanted to grow his business. I mean, you can't help but rooting for a guy like Dan. You know what I'm talking about? You want that guy to succeed. And Dan just came to me and I go, okay, Dan, what's up? He said, Nicky, I got 7 clients. How much you making? No, I don't make much. I mean, last month I made maybe $1,200, $1,300. He lives in Toronto. That's like the New York of Canada, man. You know what the cost of living in New York City and Manhattan is? That's like the cost of living in Toronto. You can't live on $1,200, $1,300 a month. And I'm like, okay, so who do you help? Oh, I can help anybody. No, man. Who do you help? No, anybody. Anybody with a wallet and a pulse? Yeah. Nobody. That's not going to work. You got to narrow your niche.
Right.
And he's like, no, man, I can't. No, you got to narrow your niche. So, okay, I'll narrow my niche. All right, how? Okay. Doctors. My dad's a doctor. They have lots of money. Great message, right? My dad's a doctor. You have lots of money. Come work with me. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And then he goes, let me narrow that niche some more. Cardiologists. I work with cardiologists. They make even more money than doctors.
Yeah.
Didn't land as a message. There was no compelling reason. Then serendipity struck. And Dan started working with a Paralympic athlete who lost a leg in childhood.
Wow.
He was an Afro-Cuban fella, and he had a really cool name, Papito Wilson.
Cool.
Papito. And Dan, man, it was a marriage made in heaven. He worked out hard with this fellow. He made him strong, and he got back to the Paralympic Games. And he came to me and he said, Nicky, man, I love doing this. It fed my soul, bro. He said, I want to work with people with missing limbs. I go, okay, sounds good. And buddy, in 6 weeks, he signed 400 clients. 400 clients. He could no longer do one-on-one coaching. It was impossible. Yeah. He had to do some sort of group thing. And he added 2 zeros to his income, like just over 100 grand. 2 zeros. Not 1 zero to his income, which would have been really cool, but 2 zeros in 6 weeks. Now, how did that happen? The message went from mayo crap to dialed in grass-fed butter, brother. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
It was just tight, dialed in. And these folks with missing limbs, nobody else was going after them. Nobody, brother. Why is that important? Because virgin market, right? Virgin market. And the message was, hey, I'm going to make you strong and I'm going to train you and you're going to be powerful. Nobody else is going after these people. Like, no, they can't work out. They got missing limbs. Well, Dan was saying, you can work out. I'm going to train you and make you strong. And that message just took. Think about it. The message wasn't just about working out. It was like, you're just as good as everybody else. And I'm going to turn you into the badass you were meant to be. So care about people. It's all about people. Tight, dialed in message. Step 1 and 2 on how to be a thought leader, brother.
I love it. And so who is your dialed in audience for you personally?
Well, I work with coaches, consultants, and people who make money through their expertise, mostly service-based people.
Cool.
You know, so that's who I work with. And if I want them to have been in business at least 3 years. And ideally, they're making somewhere under 250, 300,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If a guy's making $1 million a year, can I help him? Sure. But he probably has it pretty dialed in. He might not want to. Although, look, in another business, I work with guys who had $5 million companies and we helped them take it to 100 million. So, but for this, we were working with those kinds of folks who want to go from, high 5 figures, low 6 figures.
Yeah.
To 7 figures. Those are my people. We add a 0 to their business, man, or maybe 2.
That's amazing. It reminds me, we struggled in the beginning. I ran a CrossFit gym for 12 years. It still exists, but I don't run it day to day. And we struggled with sales because everybody signed up to get into fitness to help change people's lives. And then I started talking to them about sales funnels. I started talking to them about signups and conversion rates, and they weren't hearing it. And what really ended up working was what I call, it's exactly what you're talking about, is flipping the sales funnel, is saying, hey guys, we had 100 people raise their hands in the last month that said they want to lose weight, they want to change their lives, they want to become fit. And we told 90 of them to fuck off. That's not acceptable, right? Because we only had converted 10 out of 100 people. And so when we started to flip it and look at it from the side of helping a higher number of people that had raised their hands and reached out to us, all of a sudden the follow-ups went up, the close rates went up, everything went up. And we were helping more people. So I very much identify with what you're talking about. Today's show is brought to you by High Level CRM. High Level is an all-in-one platform designed to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses without the need for multiple softwares or an IT team. Not only does their easy-to-use software allow you to track and manage your leads throughout each phase of the relationship, but it also allows you to build funnels, track stats, and more. Guys, I sat down and added up the cost of software I was able to replace with just one app, and it was over $1,000 per month. Because this is an all-in-one application, I also save a ton of headaches connecting apps and building automations, and the team at Go High Level does a great job of getting you started quickly and easily when you sign on. I cannot more highly recommend these guys. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners get a free 14-day trial of High Level CRM for themselves. Click the link in our show notes to support the show and get started on your free 14-day trial today. I'm super excited that today's show is brought to you by the Global School of Entrepreneurship. Most practicing entrepreneurs cannot take 2 years away from their growing business to attend a full-time campus-based program or spend every weekend away from family and business for a couple of years. Finally, there's an accredited program specifically designed for you to work on and grow your business while completing your MBA. The GSE MBA complements the needs and schedules of someone actively engaged in an entrepreneurial venture while still covering the accredited curriculum expected from any MBA program. The Global School of Entrepreneurship offers a unique offering called the Mastermind to MBA program. It consists of 10 students who work together in a forum-style cohort and meet every other week for a year. The GSE MBA helps you develop skills in critical thinking and strategic planning. Students also develop competencies in leadership, decision-making, and communication with both employees as well as the important stakeholders in your business. You will be exposed to world-class academics and fascinating guest lecturers. You'll work on your business while working in your business. Students are guided by real-world entrepreneurs with decades of experience starting and scaling businesses just like yours. Best of all, I'm beyond proud to announce that the Global School of Entrepreneurship has agreed to offer one Spear and Clover listener a scholarship to join an upcoming Mastermind to MBA cohort. They are looking for someone just like you to bring a unique perspective to the program, and they are accepting applications right now. To learn more and to apply, simply go to www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Don't miss this opportunity to level yourself up and surround yourself with other like-minded entrepreneurs just like you. Once again, to apply for the GSE MBA Spear and Clover Scholarship, simply visit www.gse.mba/spear. That's www.gse.mba/spear. Today's show is brought to you by Scaling with Media. I mean, literally, like if it weren't for the folks at Scaling with Media, you would not be getting this. Scaling with Media is a truly revolutionary company for any entrepreneur who wants to reach a larger audience without taking on the years of experience necessary to master the required skills. These guys do it all. From helping you develop your creative plan to editing, sourcing content, copywriting, ads management, and way more. Whether you're looking to launch a YouTube channel or podcast, or you just want to scale your business out to more eyeballs, these guys are the absolute best one-stop shop. But that's not all. Right now, Spear and Clover listeners who sign up for their brand launch package will receive a free professional grade studio kit that I'm actually recording right now on. The studio kit includes a professional microphone, stand, lighting, and headphones, and is worth well over $500. Take action now by going to scalingwithmedia.com/spear and claim your free studio kit. Again, that's scalingwithmedia.com/spear, scalingwithmedia.com/spear. Now back to the show. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to be an author. You've written some amazing books. They've been very successful. How was that process for you? Did you always feel like you wanted to become an author, or was that something that the message was just so powerful that you had to do?
No, my childhood dream has been to be a published author.
Wow.
So I wrote a few books. Yeah.
Congratulations, man. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
The books are helpful. The business books are helpful from a branding point of view, because, people, if you go on Google and you Google me, DuckDuckGo, Brave, or whatever your chosen browser is and search engine is, you'll find a lot out there about me. So I've been on over 80 podcasts, written 8 books. That's helpful. And it's one of the things that I think everybody ought to do is you should have a book, you should have a podcast, but most people who have them don't know how to monetize them. It's one of the things which, we really help people figure out how to monetize their appearances, because one of the reasons people write books is because it's make work to not go out there and have a sales conversation with somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so if somebody's listening to this right now and they have a small business, they're in a service sector, they're in that market, what would you tell them is something that they can do right now that'll help them to start to see some success? Would that be, starting a podcast? Would that be getting what their branding is onto paper? What do you think is the most actionable, like, do it right now?
Start thinking about what your message is and who you're going after, because most people don't have a good idea of that. And the third principle of thought leadership is you need to charge based on the value of the solution you provide to people. Most people dramatically undercharge, just crazy dramatically undercharge. Tell you another story. There's a fella, he's from Manhattan. He had a acupuncture practice there. Made good money, 6 figures, 150 grand a year. But in Manhattan, that gets eaten up fast, right? It's gone. And he said, I need to make more money. I said, well, how much more money you want to make? He says, I want to go to 7 figures. I'll make $1 million a year. And I'm like, all right, let's take a look. So what's your message? His message was, I'm going to help you optimize your health. So if you are tired, you got diabetes, you got, risk of heart disease, we'll help you get rid of all that. Good message, right? And he had A-list clients, like people like Robert De Niro was clients. And I said, well, how much do you charge? He showed me what he charged. And he charged pretty much the same as any other acupuncturist would charge, which wasn't very much.
Right.
So I kind of went to him and I said, you realize your clients, these are people that pay big money for things, right? And they like paying big money for things. It kind of validates their sense of self. And I said, you're not charging them enough. And he was, okay. I think he thought I was going to say, raise your price 20, 25%, something like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, how much should I raise my price by? I go, you need to 20-fold your prices. What? He started hyperventilating. I said, oh, yeah, 20-fold, man. I said, relax, calm down.
Yeah.
I said, no, I can't do that. No, wait, they're not going to pay. I said, dude, not only are they going to pay, the fact that you're undercharging means they're not going to get the value of the solution. And you are not going to give what you ought to give. If you don't get what you should get, you won't give what you should give.
Yeah.
You don't get what you should get, you won't give what you should give. And, you know, he's like, okay, but not 20-fold. So he 7-folded his prices. Jason 20-folded his business. He went to 1.2 million in 4 months. Why? Well, Robert De Niro and his ilk, they wanted to pay that higher price. They valued him more. They got the solution. If you're a fitness coach, okay, and you have someone come into your gym, to your studio, and they want to lose 100 pounds, and they've been told by their doctor if they don't lose 100 pounds, they are going to be dead for all the reasons that doctors tell people that they're going to be dead if they don't lose that weight.
Sure.
And you go, okay, I'm going to help you lose the weight. It's going to take us a year, but it's going to happen. And you're going to completely change your health. You'll never be at risk of losing your life in this fashion. Again, the guy goes, great, I'm ready to go. How much do you charge? Oh, I charge $50 for the year-long program.
Right.
What's he going to do? He's going to look at you and go, what?
Yeah.
$50? He's not going to trust you. He's not going to show up and do the work. But if you have that same conversation with that fellow and you go, oh, how much you charge? And you go, well, the investment is just $30,000 for the year. He's going to take it seriously. He's going, okay, 30,000. Yeah, that makes sense. 30 grand. Here you go. Here's the 30 grand. And he's going to show up at every workout ready to play. He's not going to show up if you undercharge him. He just won't. That's just human nature, right? You need to charge them enough so they get the outcome.
Is there any method that you would go about to figuring out what that price might be? I'm just curious because I've struggled with that with folks as well. Clients, we definitely saw the benefit of that by raising our rates substantially in the past. When you think about that, because somebody out there right now listening to this is like, well, I opened a business, I looked at my competitors, and I either charged a little bit more or a little bit less than what they were doing.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Right, exactly. So Nicky, tell me how you would help them. What would be like a good way for them to look at it?
This is not something that in a 2-minute soundbite on a podcast is gonna work. And I want to just say that because people want a quick, let me do that. I'll take that. That's a great takeaway. No, there's an art and a science to charging. Okay. First off, though, you got to charge based on the value of the solution and the outcome that it produces. So there's something called lifetime value of an outcome. Okay. So you help that fella lose 100 pounds, and instead of dying in 2 years, he lives another 30 years, and you put a price on, his life that way, and it's worth $100,000 an extra for each extra year he gets, and he gets an extra 30 years. That's a $3 million value that you gave this fellow.
Right.
And then his family gets a ton of value from him continuing to be alive and have money to support them and all that jazz. It's probably another couple $1 million. So you delivered a $5 million value for this individual. And your price point ought to be based on the value of the solution that you're delivering for this individual.
Agreed.
And not from whatever the competition supposedly charges. They're not here to, see how much you charge for the competition. I mean, that works for, buying pasta or steak or things like that. It doesn't work for solving acute problems. Person with an acute problem wants a solution. And if someone wants a bargain, they're not your ideal client anyways. You shouldn't work with them.
I agree. That's a great answer. I also would say the surgeon certainly is going to charge what the impact is worth, right? So why wouldn't you?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, right. For sure. So what about you? What do you get into? Do you have hobbies? Do you have passions? Or are you just 100% coaching and helping people? What do you like to get into?
Well, when you and I are done, I got to scarf down a steak and take my son to hockey. He plays AA hockey.
Nice.
Goaltender.
Ooh.
I heard him come in.
Yeah.
He called me sick. He picked me up from the subway. I said, no, man, I got an interview starting in a few minutes. I can't, son. You're going to have to take the bus.
That's great.
He wasn't thrilled with that. So I got another son who plays soccer, or the real football, as we call it, because it's actually played with your feet, unlike American football.
Yeah.
And so I'm with my boys. I get to go watch their games and go to their practices. And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome to have sons. I run a men's organization
Nice.
as well. We meet, basically once a week.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It's really good stuff. I read a lot of books. Love reading books. I read business books. I read biography. I read history. I read fiction.
Nice.
Really great stuff. And I'm a knife collector.
Me too. What kind of knives?
All kinds.
Well, Nicky, that's such a pleasant surprise to find that we have that in common, man. That's really neat.
Yeah, buddy, it's good, man. It's good. And me too.
Good
I like
stuff.
it.
Yeah. So kind of one more question about what it is that you do is what exactly makes a thought leader? That's a word that I've heard a lot, and it's a word that I'm not sure I fully understand. What exactly is a thought leader?
Well, I think I've been showing you these are 3 qualities every thought leader ought to have. But
Okay.
the best way to describe a thought leader is by drawing a contrast between a thought leader and an expert. So an expert is someone who knows something. There's lots of experts out there. There are a dime a dozen. But a thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. So a thought leader is actually pretty rare and valuable, right? Because I'll give you an example that I'm like, you know what? I'll show you this because I show this to people sometimes.
Okay.
Let me open up another quick document.
Sure.
All right, here we go. This is great. So expert thought leader. So, okay, here we go. Okay, an expert is someone who knows something. A thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. Matt Church said that. And then David Meerman Scott said, an expert is like a cover band. A thought leader plays original music.
Right.
So take a look at this fellow. He's a professor at the University of Toronto in the Department of Psychology. He's a learned man. He has a PhD from Cornell University in the area of social and personality. Do you know who he is?
I don't.
All right, well, let me introduce him to you. His name is Dr. Jason Plax. He's a true expert, okay? Now, let me show you somebody else.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Go ahead.
He, too, is a professor at the University of Toronto in the Department of Psychology, or at least he was till recently. Yeah. His PhD is from McGill University in Montreal, and he, too, is an expert in the arena of social and personality. Who's he?
That's Jordan Peterson, of course.
Damn straight, that's Jordan Peterson. Jason Plax is an expert. Jordan Peterson's a thought leader.
Fantastic. That was maybe that was the best and most thorough answer to a question we've had yet. That was very clear. Thank you, sir. Listen, this has been fantastic. I have 2 questions that I ask everybody that comes on the show, and I'd like to ask you those 2 questions now if you're ready.
Absolutely.
All right. Nicky, the first question is, if you had access to unlimited financial capital, how would you profitably grow your current business?
That's a great question. I'm looking to build an online funnel right now. In fact, I just recorded a webinar for it. It's a masterclass, and I'm going to be sharing that masterclass with a bunch of people to help them sprint to the finish for the rest of the year. And I'm going to ask them to give me a bunch of feedback.
Yeah.
I would perfect that, and I'd run a whole bunch of ads to fill my funnel. That really is what I would do.
Perfect. The second question, Nicky, is if you had to give up all of the businesses that you currently have or have done in the past and start something totally new that you've never tried before, what do you think that might be?
I'd sell knives.
It better be something to do with knives, right? Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
I'd run courses teaching people how to use knives.
Yeah.
We'd have a whole channel. Okay, well, this is what you can do with your knife. This is what's good with this knife.
Yeah.
Talk about knife collecting versus knife using.
Yeah.
I'd just be all over that, man. That'd be fun as everything.
I agree.
And there's a channel I want to run, and it's I read a lot. So this will be my 4th straight year that I've read over 100 paper books.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do a book review channel, bro. Nicky B and the books he reads.
Yeah.
Really good.
I think that'd be great. I mean, 100 books a year is pretty steep. I think I read a lot, but I don't think I'm reading 100 a year for sure.
Oh, you on Goodreads.com? Do you know Goodreads?
I'm on Goodreads. Yeah, I haven't been on in many years. My sister's a big Goodreads person, but I do have a Goodreads account. Yeah.
So with Goodreads, you can have a challenge every year, and you can track all the books you read and share them with your friends.
Yeah.
So I do that, but honestly, I want to do more. I want to do video reviews, man. I want to read a book and just say, okay, I just finished reading such and such book. This is what's good about the book. This is why you should read the book.
Yeah. What do you reread? Anything that you reread?
I reread Og Mandino's books. I reread Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. I reread a bunch of novels in the past.
Sure.
As well. I reread The War of Art by Steve Pressfield. Books like that.
Yeah, for me, it's like 1984. It's like Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged's a great book. I've read that twice.
Yeah, I've reread that a couple times. Fountainhead, and then I reread, I'll reread 4 Hour Workweek, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and what's the one I love? Built to Sell. I'll reread those kind of like whenever they pop into my head.
Sure. Built to Sell is a great book.
Oh, love Built to Sell.
I love Rich Dad, Poor Dad as well. 4 Hour Workweek, I don't think I ever finished that. But, it's Tim Ferriss sure built himself a great man.
He sure did. And I think too, it's like caviar, it's really nice to have a little bit of it, and you could probably get a stomach ache if you just eat nothing but that.
Listen, I'm from Iran. I grew up eating caviar. I love caviar, bro. I can eat a kilo at a time, bro.
Get out of here. Wow. That's crazy. Well, Nicky, this has been a fantastic conversation. You're a super interesting guy. You obviously are out there helping a lot of people to help people, and that's my favorite type of person to talk to on the show. My listeners are going to love you as well. So where can they find you, and how can they connect with you?
I've got a website that has all my socials on it. It's called Nicky360.com. But my main website is called eCircleAcademy.com, and it is a great place with a ton of resources. And best of all, if you want to jump on a call and get to know me one-on-one, which I highly encourage, there's a button there which lets you do that. So that's what I recommend that you do.
Nicky Billou, you're great, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure the listeners will appreciate all the wisdom today. Have a great day.
Brother.
Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to the show. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to show us some love by liking, rating, and subscribing so we can keep making more and better content. If you'd like to support the show and get a great additional content like exclusive shows and even live group masterminds, please head over to patreon.com/spearandclover to become a member of the tribe. If you're interested in learning more about how we help entrepreneurs, visit spearandclover.com or message us on any of our platforms. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.